Christy, Karen, Kate, so many K's. I got all my K girls here. Hi, Kate, Christy, Karen, Gina. Hi, everyone. Hey, Carly. Christy, it's so good to see you. Karen, you made it. I'm so happy for you. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna let Ashley in. Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Hello. So good to see all of you. All right, I wanted to set us up for success because we have a lot of new faces. Kate, Ashley, and Karen, y'all just joined pretty recently, and Christy has worked with me before, but she's new to our group dynamic. So I wanted to just like kind of give you guys some support around these calls. Does that sound good? All right, so these calls are for you. They're not for me, and they're not for Carly, they're for you, which means that we get to shape them as a community towards what we need. So that means like in the group chat where we have like the Ask Coaches or the general chat, if you have a question that like you're like, hey, I really want to bring this to a call, like let us know so we can be prepared to support you on these calls. Also, like I really love that we're healing in community. Like that's one of the benefits of being in here is that, Gina might say something and Christy's like, ooh, I could use that. Or Christy might share some wisdom and Ashley's like, oh my gosh, that's perfect for me. Or maybe like, hey, I heard something that I'm definitely not going to try, right? And so that's one of the best things about being in community. And the other piece of it is like, this is not so strict where like it has to be like every minute is mapped out. It's really like here for you. So as we get deeper into relationship with one another and deeper into protocols and deeper into like the process that you're in, because a lot of all of us have a lot going on. If I need to stay on longer to make sure that everyone gets their questions answered or is supported, then guess what? I'm going to do that. Or if it makes sense to add an extra call, because right now we have two a month, but maybe we need three or four a month, we can do that too. Okay. So I really want you to hear that sincerity and the flexibility so that you guys get what you need in this group space. Everyone like thumbs up on that. Good, like let me know you heard that. Cool. Because I know as women sometimes we don't ask for what we need. Right? I know I've been guilty of that before. And yeah, and welcome. Thumbs up and the emoji. Perfect. And also, thank you for showing up with your cameras on. It's not always possible. Sometimes we're making food or we're in the bathroom or in the car. But when you can be on camera, it's just so sweet for me as a coach and Carly as a coach to be able to see you guys and see how you're responding to things. So appreciate whenever that's possible for you guys to show up. And the last thing I would say is just like make this like a priority if you want to, in terms of like if health is a priority for you. Um, and I'd say that just because like I think you've signed up for a reason, and so if group dynamic and group calls are something that help you, then like honor that part of you that made this decision to be here and show up. Like really, truly. Like we get out of it what we put in is my thought. Okay, so all of that to be said, and then a couple other things is this is meant to be a space that is for healing. So that means that you can totally show up as your true and authentic self here. And we want that. And like we want you to be fully expressed if you feel safe to do so. That also means that uh, please be respectful of one another. Please be respectful of one another. Lead with kindness and love and light. If you have a reflection for someone else, my only ask is that you ask for permission. Sometimes people don't want everyone else's input, and sometimes they really do. So, you know yourself best. If you're someone who's like, I get easily overwhelmed with information and I don't want a million people's insight, then maybe you can practice boundaries of saying, hey, no, thank you. I don't really, want your opinion here with love and kindness. I think that was all I wanted to say, just because there are some, and Nimi is also here, and she's also new. So there's just some ground rules I wanted to create so that we can feel safe in this container together. And if there's anything else that pops up and you want to send me a text or an email or something and you're like, this could really help me feel more safe or more expressed or get more out of the group dynamic, please let me know. And then, yeah, I wanted to just like really commend you guys, especially Karen. I know you like leaned really far into the group this week, and like got support as a result of that. So, yeah, thank you so much for doing that. And just breaking the ice a little bit. Okay, so with all that said, I was thinking there does seem to be kind of like a universal thread between all of us around anxiety and emotions and like potentially needing some support around that. Um, and I'm curious how that's landing. You're like, oh, emotions, no. Um, and so I'd be curious what you guys would think we could do, like one of two things. One would be this could be an open, what Carly and I call hot seat coaching, which I really think we need a new name for Carly. We're like, we need like warm seat coaching or like loving coaching or something. But hot seat coaching is like when each person gets to go and share like one win and like one thing that they are like working through that they could use some support with, and I can support you directly or Carly can. So we could do that today. Or there's also a tool that Carly and I revamped a few years ago that's like an emotional processing tool that can be really helpful in times of stress. And so I would love to teach that to you guys if that would be more supportive. Can you guys like, yeah, Kate's a thumbs up for that. Karen, Ashley. And also just to clarify, even if I teach this, I'm happy to stay on and answer questions and stuff too, but I thought I would like maybe lead with this. Chat. Oh, okay, no worries that you're still working. Okay. What is the rest of everyone's take? You can unmute too. That's the other thing I meant to say. Like, I'm a yapper, so like you guys, like we're not in school. Like you don't have to stay on mute if you don't want to. Like I want to hear from you. So you can unmute and let me know. But yeah, Christy, it sounds like it looked like Karen, Kate, and Ashley both were like, yeah, teach me the tool. Christy, where are you at? And Gina and Nimi, let us know. Either works. Okay, cool. I'm gonna pull it up. It looks like that's gonna be what we do. Hmm. How I'm also curious, like if you would all unmute real quick, if you're able to, how are you feeling in this moment? I know there's been a lot of heaviness and I'm just curious like how you're all doing. I'm just curious. Karen, I see you're unmuted. How are you doing?
I just got home from a visitation, so that was not fun. He was 52 and had an alcohol problem, and that was it. So yeah, feeling, you know, sad, and I think death is just such a crazy topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, so just one more thing to the overwhelmed list.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for your loss.
Thanks.
Grief is a really tricky emotion.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Especially, yeah, what you said about his age and stuff, that can bring up all sorts of things for our own mortality and
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. And
Yeah.
and it's too bad he didn't get the help he needed. That's unfortunate too. Or he just, I mean, just couldn't. I don't know. Alcoholism is a true disease. I've seen two people now die from it. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So,
Truly. Truly.
yeah, but hopefully maybe people have some recommendations for things to do besides drink alcohol, you know.
Yes, thank you for reminding me that was one of your thoughts.
Yes, because I always see things, but then it's like you don't want to buy something that's not going to work. So I just thought if somebody has something that they've purchased and works, they could share
Yeah.
it.
Does anyone have any non-alcoholic ideas for Karen? Okay, in the chat we have my friends like Hayo.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. Yeah, my friend recommends that one.
Hayo. It's okay, Gina. You can,
Okay.
you can
I'm
interrupt.
just
That's
trying to.
fine.
I had brain fog. I couldn't remember that, but
We
that's it was nice.
like the interrupts. It's like
I'm
fun
like,
because it's like
interrupt me.
being, yeah, it's like real, right? It's like real interaction
Yeah, it's like we're in a real space together, not on a screen with a tiny square.
as I type in the chat instead of unmute.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, great. So that's like a pre-made like a mocktail company, I'm assuming, something like that. So maybe Karen, I would check that out too.
And I think
Mhm.
it has adaptogens in it, like
Yeah.
lion's and I don't know, some other stuff.
Do you have any like natural food stores near you, Karen? Not really.
Um, like within 30 minutes.
Okay. Because
We're in a small town, but I mean it's a 30-minute. My husband he works in the suburbs, so it's easy for him to
Karen, is
stop
this for
anywhere.
you?
Yes.
I'm kind of curious if the process that Sophie's going to teach out would walk you through the behavior of like the underlying intention of reaching for the alcohol and then get you to like a different state of being that might shift the way that you choose to take action going forward.
mm,
Right. It's such a good question, like the purpose of drinking alcohol. But I mean, I don't know. Even before being 21, like I don't know if it's because I live in a small town and that's what we did when we got together, and it continues. It's um like I don't need alcohol during the week, but when I do drink on a Friday or a Saturday, like I drink too much. Like it's almost a binge. And it's really just, I don't know. I want to say because it's fun and we all just get silly or you just yeah, it's hard to explain and it's not good, but it is fun in the moment. But then the next day you don't sleep well. I don't sleep well. And then, yeah, it's the anxiety
mm,
from the drinking part too is
What
not
prevents you from
good. But
stopping
it's like,
drinking?
yeah, I don't need to drink, daily, like during the week. But I feel like our group of friends, like when we get together, even if it's just to have dinner on a Friday, we have too many drinks. It's not just a casual drink with dinner. It's like 5 drinks plus, and then we're just drunk. I mean, definitely to the drunk part. So, but it's
It's fun.
like
I
if I
mean,
can find
I'm
some,
smiling only because like I under the fun part, right? Like it's fun until it's not, right?
yes, yes, and it is stupid. I mean, it's dumb, but
Not so
it
dumb that
is
almost everyone in America is doing it.
right. Yeah, I
um,
don't know. So I like, I don't know. I like my sister. She turns to like marijuana, but like that's not. I don't do well with that. I don't know. It's just not like that. Just isn't the other option because in Illinois now it's legal. But I'm not a fan. So
mm.
yeah, but I've heard of the Hi-O. Um, there was another one. Uh,
Karen, something that occurs to me in like the way that you shared that story with us. Thank you so much for being so real. Because like,
yeah.
hello, been there. Um,
Yes.
and Ashley also said that that happened to her with her drinking habits being from a small town.
Mhm.
One other like alternative thing for you to noodle on, maybe you don't have the answer right now, would it probably be a good like home play for you? I like using home play
Mhm.
instead of homework. Um,
Yeah.
is like what you do for fun. What else you do for fun? Because the
Right.
drinking with your friends is giving you like it's kind of what Carly was trying to probably pull out a little bit. It's like why for what purpose do we drink? Like
Yeah.
it's a good question. Like why do
Right.
you do that? And then your response
Mhm.
through it was kind of like, oh yeah, then we get silly. And it's like, oh, okay, so like there's some
Yeah.
joy that comes from this, right? And so it's like very difficult for us to make habit changes when the thing we're trying to change gives us joy. But one of the
Right.
things that can be really helpful with this is crowding out. So like inviting in some other things that bring you joy, some other ways of interacting. So like less
Mhm.
logical of like, yes, I love the alternative, like the free the Hio or whatever Hio. And also like maybe if you have there's more pleasure and fun through the week, you won't mind, on the weekend to drink so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, and then I think this process that I'm going to teach in a second will also help you. Yeah. And also, Ashley said that morning meditation, in addition to getting more active, whether it's a daily walk or Pilates or yoga, led me to want to drink less. Still have periods of over drinking on occasion, but have lessened my drinking overall with those strategies implemented.
Mhm.
Mm, yeah, thank you. So again, it's kind of like an add-in strategy.
Right.
Like, don't you guys think we're kind of like in a restrictive, like women are like always being told what not to do? Like it's kind of like exhausting. So it's kind of fun way to
Mhm.
think about what we can add in, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah. Does some things in there give you some places to start?
Yeah. I just, yeah. I mean, like tomorrow we're going to go see Luke Bryan. I mean, like we enjoy concerts with our friends, but what happens when we go to concerts? We all drink. 'Cause again, it's more fun. But that's the good question. Like, why? You know,
Yeah.
What comes
Saturday we're
up for
going to
you
another
around
concert.
what comes up for you around being the only one there that's not drinking?
Um, I think I would be like jealous. Well, also it does it's calming, or it loosens you up, so you're more social, I guess.
So one thought, because you said it's not necessarily the drinking that it sounds like that you're viewing as a problem, it's how much of it.
Yeah.
So if you're telling yourself it's all or nothing, that can kind of threaten the parts of you that really enjoy the fun and the silly that come along with the experience. And so I'm just like kind of to give yourself feedback for tomorrow, it might be an interesting little like experiment to see what would happen if you gave yourself how many like a permission to drink like a certain amount and just like
Yes.
see what happens. Like right, like it's not to punish or shame ourselves or like celebrate, or it's to get feedback. So like what happens when you give yourself like a specific amount of permission to allow yourself to do it? Does it change the
Right.
experience? Does it, like that's something to consider. Sometimes when the habits or like the behaviors, or like as you mentioned, like sometimes there is disease that comes along with it, is such a huge part of our lifestyle and such a huge way of us kind of like coping and getting the fun. If we go to an all or nothing mindset around it, it's too big of a leap for our nervous system. And so we kind of need to find a way to bridge it. And it's like the
Yeah.
next best choice, and then the next best choice, and then the next best choice until it dissipates. And that's very common with behaviors that are like obsessive compulsive or addictive, or like those types of behaviors and patterns tend to need to be like a more like loving stepped process,
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
because otherwise
I
your
like
mind's
that.
going to find the gap for it. So like so yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think tomorrow would be a good time to do that. Only have like set just say, okay, I'm gonna only have X amount, especially because I know then Saturday we are gonna get up and do it all over again at another concert. So I don't want to feel like crap,
Yeah.
from drinking too much. So
Yeah, it'll give you interesting feedback, right? Like maybe
mhm.
someone else will like follow along with you too.
Yes.
Mm. Love that last bit, that last idea, right? Like even for all of us listening in this communal conversation about why we do certain things or drinking or other vices, it's like I think a lot of times like I will wait to, or I have in the past, and really not doing that this as much now, but like I would wait for someone else to tell me what's like socially acceptable because I wouldn't want to like stand out or be different, you know? And like I think it applies to like being gluten free, you know? Like it applies to like every area and like, you know what I mean? It's not just like drinking. It's like just making a stand for yourself in any area of health, whether it's like I take more supplements than the average bear cub, or like I'm gluten free, or like I choose to not have dairy, or I choose to not drink as much, is like taking a stand that can feel pretty radical. And there can be a lot of like anxiety around how that like is perceived in relationship with others. So it's cool is that you could actually end up setting a trend where y'all find additional ways to have fun together. Yeah. Also, Kate had some really lovely feedback too in the chat.
Yeah.
I think we stepped away, but
Yeah.
yeah, Kate, thank you for sharing. Yeah, just telling people straight up, this does not work for me.
Hmm.
Not healthy for me. This doesn't make me feel good.
I had one last thought as I'm reading through like Kate's and other people's, right? Like how, and you even think about the gluten, like how we're like afraid of what other people are going to say to us, but what other people are saying to us is usually a reflection of their own discomfort, right? They're watching us make the changes in ourselves that they're not able to make within themselves. We're changing too, which can be very uncomfortable for people who love us because it's like they're so used to us being a certain way, and now all of a sudden we're changing. And we had a client previously who like she was the one who was like the fun one because she drank and like that was her group, and then it did cause like some social like shifts for her. She did end up separating. But one thing it is too, like, right, like, oh, you're like, people are like, oh, you don't drink, like what's wrong with you, like what's wrong with you? Well, they're just mirroring their own shit onto you, like, because they're uncomfortable now, something within them has been like disrupted.
Mhm. Yep. Objection. Objection. I was actually going to also say the same thing that Christy said, too, about I get confused a lot because through bitters and lime. And I switched to that. We're really trying to drink less, and that's been really nice because it feels like you're having something and not like nothing, you know? That's the other part of it. It's just like it helps me stay strong in the boundary. hmm yeah, I'm curious, like I'm gonna shift into the tool in a second. I'm so grateful that all of you have been sharing. I'm curious that last bit that Carly shared, if anyone else wants to unmute, any takeaways from what she shared about other people's projections, or have you guys experienced that before? Feel free to unmute.
Yeah, so I was actually just writing in the chat, but last year I had a few friendships that ended up being a lot more toxic than not excessive drinking, and I ended up cutting off those friendships because they just weren't serving me and what I wanted to do in terms of getting my health back on track and things like that. And since cutting off that pressure from other people to feel like I needed to drink with them and not necessarily knowing what my boundaries were, like now I have a little bit more of a better standpoint of like personal boundaries of, oh, I can handle this amount of alcohol, but I'm also not surrounding myself with people who are excessively drinking on a consistent basis, which was, helpful for me. Obviously, everyone's friendships are different. So that's just a little piece in itself for me personally. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah, love that feedback, Ashley. And I feel pretty similarly. Like we moved out to Colorado, which obviously, like, I'm not saying like the solution to not drinking is to like move across the country. But in New York City, like the culture was very much like drinking for fun. And I know Christy and I just got to hang out in New York, guys. So fun. And so yeah, that's the culture, right? And here the culture is like nature is our high. And there's a lot more plant medicine, people doing mushrooms, which is has its own, journey for people to like experience with, right? But there's a lot more like tonight I'm going to a concert that's like not like there won't be any alcohol available, right? Like that's just like the environment that I'm in. And so it's made it like a little easier even to like decide that and make those changes. And so I think the point in bringing that part into the conversation is just that like our environment really matters, and we also get to some extent to change our environment, like Ashley said, right? even if it's harder or it feels hard. Yeah. All right. Any other like reflections before I teach you this tool? Mm, what a rich conversation. Thank you guys so much for your wisdoms. It's really nice to be in connection with you guys on this stuff. And Karen, thanks for sharing your struggle. So real. Dang, alcohol. It's crazy that it's legal. All right, I'm going to share my screen. It's a little presentation that Carly and I made a while back. Can everyone see it? All right. So our teachers taught it to us as DIMES. We call it IMEDS. It's a process for dealing with triggers and activations in our system. I've heard from pretty much every single person in here either a line about I have anxiety or I have panic or in the middle of the workday I like get overwhelmed or some version of that. And Carly and I both, I would say, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Carly, have struggled with mental health, on and off for a large part of our lives. I was on antidepressants for a decade, and Carly was as well for a long time. And these are some of the tools that, when we really commit ourselves to it, have helped us to navigate. And it's not like it's perfect and you never have an anxious thought ever again. It's like, what do I do when I'm having that anxious thought, right? Or having a difficult emotion. So the I, it stands for interrupting the pattern. And so we like to interrupt the pattern with some sort of a parasympathetic tool. Can I get either an unmute comment or a chat? Do people know what I mean by parasympathetic tool? Like, have you guys watched the nervous system module or been taught it somewhere else? Like, what does parasympathetic mean? Just want to like kind of gauge where people are at with that term. Kate's a thumbs up. Ashley, I know you know from our group work together before. Christy, yes. Okay, great. What are some actually Nimi, I don't know if you're on. I haven't heard from you at all. You might be doing pottery again, but thumbs up. Okay, perfect. All right, so everyone knows, yeah, what parasympathetic is. So here's a reminder. We cannot heal our hormones, our gut, any of that stuff if we are in sympathetic, if we're in fight or flight, if we're in go, go, go all the time. Ashley and I just had this conversation an hour ago, right? And so we want to find ways to drop ourselves into parasympathetic. And it's okay that your nervous system isn't always in rest and digest, which is the parasympathetic, right? Rest, digest, and reproduce. But it is imperative that you find tools that work for you. So I'd love to know, since you guys all know what I meant by parasympathetic, what tools do you know work for you? And if you don't have any tools that work for you for parasympathetic, I'd also love to know. Chat or unmute yourself. If shaking counts, then shaking. I love it, Christy. Sounds good. Nothing feels like it works. I feel possessed or overtaken. Oh, histamine really can feel that way. I know that Carly and I both have dealt with that before. I forget if that's a tool, shaking. Yeah, it's totally a tool. I think yeah, let's get into it a second. 4-7-8 breath breathing works for me along with butterfly taps. Oh, yay, my butterfly. I love butterfly taps. So good. Carly calling Sophie. We were on the phone pretty late on Tuesday. Haha, JK. Okay, legs up the wall works really well for me. Taking a warm bath and self-soothing, like hands on the heart. Supping my arms, what does that mean? Supping? Supplementing your arms? Oh, I'm tapping yours, hugging yourself. Okay, Karen says, my mind is always racing. I have a very hard time doing anything where I try to relax. Okay, Karen and Kate, have you guys watched the nervous system module yet? I know you're both pretty new, so maybe not. Okay. After this call, like not tonight, but like in the next week or two, go to that module, please, and watch those videos. Just do yourself the favor and do it because it might help. But yeah, so for those of us who feel like our mind is always racing and like nothing works, it can be helpful to try some of these tools that are listed here. So whether it's a breath hold or cyclical breath, like we do a lot of this in the breathwork calls with Nicole. You guys all have access, by the way, to all the group trainings from 2025. There are several with her. Like any of those breathworks you can do. Like Carly said, you can put your legs up the wall, which is where you put like your butt closest to the wall and you put your legs as vertical as you can. Um, and so so for me, I also feel similar to Carly. So if I'm really like racing, I need pressure. So, getting under the weighted blanket, even if it's just for a few minutes, you guys, like just because the thing is like, we'll just, who feels like you just freight train through your day in anxiety? Like mind race, mind race, mind race, right? Okay, so what we're talking about is like interrupting that pattern, right? Even if it's just for a couple of minutes. So what you can try is you can do the different tools that are in the nervous system module and do them and see like did this down regulate my like I'm a little bit more calm. Like even 1% more calm, right? Like 10% more calm. Is this working at all for me? When I'm really dysregulated, I need pressure, so I'll get under the weighted blanket, or I'll kind of try to like do like a pretty intense like squeeze, squeeze of my body. That really works, and legs at the wall really works for me. Um, and then if all else fails, I'll try to do a longer breath exhale than I breathed in. You can't be in fight or flight and be breathing out longer than you breathe in. It's like actually what cues our nervous system to calm down. So it'll tell your nervous system to calm down. Other things that I talk about in the video are ear tools. So pulling on your ears. All right, pulling on your ears, like massaging that like really like gentle spot right here is like a connection point for your vagus nerve. So I even just think like, oh, self-massage, self-touch, like getting out of my head and being with this part of my body is very relaxing for me. Even talking right now, like I still get anxious, even though like, you guys know me a little bit, but like I still get anxious talking to you guys. So like putting a hand on the chest, taking deep breaths, pulling on the neck or pulling on the ears are all cues for my nervous system to slow down. Let's see what else is in the chat. When you're in a state where you cannot even access the tools or get yourself out of it, no matter what you do, that's often a sign when you need co-regulation. Yeah, great point. So, that's a really good point. So sometimes, especially in the beginning, it can be really helpful to have a co-regulation partner. I have a friend who lives really close by and she's so good at it with me. So like I got really dysregulated last fall and I ate gluten accidentally. Carly remembers, called her in a panic. But I was also with my friend Hannah, and so she and I just did some singing together, just some like humming together, and just vibration is really like helpful and regulatory. So like sound bowls, you can put on Spotify and put that on, but like if you're with a person and you can hum together or hug or just be together and their nervous system is not jacked up, then that you can also basically calibrate to where they're at. So maybe there's people in your life that would be willing to do that with you. If you have kids, you can teach your kids how to do that. It's really fun. You can teach your kids these tools and then they can do it with you, especially the young ones. All right. Kate says, interesting on the longer out breath. Yeah, girl, it's a game changer. Yeah, yeah. So, out breath, even if it's 1 second longer than your inhale, it is the way that the breath works. And Nicole would probably get this way better than me. She'll come and teach us breath work soon. But that process tells your nervous system, hey, we're safe. Because the thing with the nervous system is it's always sensing for am I safe or am I not or am I, where am I? And it's looking at things like sound and light and food and posture and like heat and cold, right? To tell it like how it's supposed to be. And so all we're saying is if it's upregulated, choosing a tool that helps you to get it back into regulation. Humming for a few minutes on the longer exhale, 4, 7, 8 breaths has been really helpful. Oh, awesome. I complete my stress cycle by working out and then sitting in the sauna and listening to calming music. Oh, and Nimi, I love the language you just said there, that you complete the stress cycle. Great job. It's really important. You're letting it out and then you're also like calming yourself down at the end. Kate, co-regulation, I think I answered that. Yeah, just being with other people that, yeah, can be regulatory for you. Yeah, Carly says if you can't, if like you can't find a safe person, you can get the same benefits from nature. So grounding is when you put your feet on the earth. Not everyone has access. You might live in a city, for example, but if you do have access to water or sand or dirt, putting your feet in nature actually changes your electrical system to regulate your body, and it also connects you to the planet that we're living on that is keeping us alive. And by doing so is very regulatory. Hugging your pets. Yeah, that's Carly's favorite. Yeah, ice in your palms or under the eyes or the lips. That's another one. Okay. Everyone think that they kind of understand the concept of eye? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah, you're with me. All right. And then if you're just not sure, um, what eye you would use, what parasympathetic tool you would use, I would go into the module and find out. And I would love to hear in the chat next week when you've done that, what has been helping you. Perfect. All right, moving on. M. All right, so M is about monitoring what you're feeling. And who here? Well, actually, I'm just curious, like what when I say emotions, like what's your next word or phrase? Helpful, inconvenient, annoying. I love my emotions. Like what do you think about emotions? Scary, annoying, smart. Two things can be true at the same time. Annoying. Yeah. Gosh, dang it. Anyone else have thoughts about emotions? Can be overwhelming. Mm. Do you guys have a sense of like, do you know your emotions? Can you label them when you're experiencing them? All over the place. Yeah. Karen, you're like me, full of different types of emotions. I love that. I see you. Yeah. Cool. Interesting question, right? Like, what do we think about these emotions? Okay, so thank you. Getting there in a second. Everyone can open up, if everyone wants to open up that link that Carly just sent, that's great. Here's the deal with emotions. They are all where am I? Nope, nope. Wait, hang on. Where did I go? Where is it? Oh my gosh, I lost it. Okay. Um, all emotions are geared for resourcefulness, even if you don't understand what they are right now. What I mean by that is even the most frustrating and annoying and overwhelming emotions are here for your benefit. I'm going to give you a really personal example. Ready? When I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, I was 22 or 23 years old. I was dating a guy who was very abusive emotionally, and just like verbally abusive every single day. And I stayed a lot longer than I meant to. Last year, I had a PTSD flare around this relationship, and I called Carly and I was like, I cannot get out of this emotion. Like, I'm stuck here. Like, I don't know what's going on. And she basically helped me to realize that the emotion I was one of the emotions I was experiencing was anger. And I had a problem with that because I was like, I don't want to be an angry person. Anger means violence. I had like all these like beliefs about anger being bad. Anyone else think anger is like maybe like not a great emotion, prefer not to feel it, right? Oh, it's a negative emotion, right? We have like all these labels for emotions, right? So I was sharing that with her and she was like, well, walking me through the experience I was having, she said, well, anger is the thing that got you out of that relationship. Anger was the motivation for you to be like, you know what? I don't deserve to be spoken to like this. Goodbye. And she's 100% right. There was fury, let me tell you, because I was tired of being walked all over. So anger was actually helpful for me in that moment, right? And so it can be confusing sometimes for us with emotions because our society tells us that they're bad for us, that there's good emotions and then there's bad emotions. Um, and I'm here to tell you that that's a load of crud. It's just not true. So our emotions are here for us. And so being with our emotions, being able to label them and understand what you're feeling instead of pushing through it like a freight train, in and of itself slows you down. So the M is for monitoring the emotions. What am I feeling? And do I have multiple emotions like me and Karen? Are they competing? I'll switch over to this. Thank you. There, you can Google this, how to use a wheel of emotions to express better emotions. So, okay, there's like the basic ones, bad. I feel bad. I feel angry. I feel happy. I feel fearful. I feel sad. I feel surprised. I feel disgusted. And then there's all of these other ones that are outside of that, right? And so I know this is it sounds so silly, but one of the best things that you can do in this moment is just to label all the things that you're experiencing. Carly, do you have any other thoughts about this? Am I missing anything? I don't think I am, but
I think just one thing is the goal isn't to get like so caught up on the emotions, like labeling them, because then you're gonna end up pulling yourself into a whole nother like IMEDs starting all over of like the intention of like what's coming up for you if you can't label them in the moment. So it's just like giving it the thought. Usually like what we can name, we can tame, but we don't always have to name it with the specific label at the time that we're feeling it. So kind of just like getting a understanding of like your internal, like what are you feeling in your body? Like where are you feeling it? And then like later when you're in a more regulated state, it's like coming back to the emotion wheel and seeing if you can give it a name and a label. Oh, that's what I was feeling.
hmm yeah, that's a really good point because sometimes we can't in the moment. And that's okay. Sometimes all we can do is the I. Sometimes we can't even do the I part of
Yeah.
iMeds, right?
One of One of the purposes, though, besides being able to kind of like catch your signs and your cues sooner, like in previous in like future, with what you're feeling in the emotion, is also because it starts to drop you out of the mental body. Like usually when we're like really overwhelmed, we're constantly thinking. Like I saw some of your before, like we're thinking, we're trying to think our way out of it. And when you can drop, like this is like with the drop into your body. Like if you've ever heard that, like drop into your body, it's getting like separation from the mind, and it that this almost acts like a whole nother pattern interrupt because now you're kind of like, oh, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling this?
Yeah, I love that. Okay. Does the M make sense to y'all? Yeah, no. It's okay if it doesn't. I would love to just like make sure you guys are really getting what we're saying. I know it's like, yeah, okay. Okay. And then we have the the E is emotional processing. So, like Ashley, you just said, like, I think it stems from a fear of fully expressing myself and being misunderstood from others for expressing the anger, right? So, like, a lot of times, like, we don't express ourselves. So, the emotional processing piece of it is actually like being honest with ourselves, of letting ourselves process what we're feeling. And again, sometimes it's not so literal. Like sometimes you're not like, oh, I'm so angry and irritated and now it's like it's usually like a very fast thing. It's like, oh wow, I'm really dysregulated. Okay, I'm gonna go put my legs up the wall for a minute, calm down, and then maybe I might have the thought of like, you know what? I'm pissed. And so it's like, what do you need to do in that moment? Or maybe it's later, like if you're working and it's inappropriate for you to express during work. Like, do I need to cry? Do I need to go to the bathroom and cry? Do I need to go throw something? Like, do I need to do more parasympathetic exercises? Do I need to call a friend? Do I need to go to a kickboxing class after work today? Like, what is a way that you can actually fully express yourself? Like, can you go to an axe throwing place or like a place where you can break a whole bunch of stuff? Can you let yourself have a full freaking tantrum? I did this past weekend. I was in my business. I pay humans to help me run this business well. And they're amazing. And this weekend I was there 9 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, working on how to grow my business and make the business even better. And one of the things that we did was breath work. And she gave us a prompt to like let it out. Like I had a full tantrum, like kicking, screaming, like on my hands and knees, like shaking like that, because that actually helps. Christy mentioned shaking. Yeah, use it. Maybe it's a journaling prompt. Maybe you can process through writing. I know Carly really loves to journal. I don't. It's like my brain is not going to ever slow down enough for me to journal like at the speed. So I go for like rapid walks and I do like voice notes to myself, right? So like getting it essentially to move through the body, whether it's breath,
Also,
yeah, Carly.
I was gonna say also it's, if you are one, you're doing the parasympathetic tool, your body and or like your thoughts will sometimes tell you exactly what it's asking for to move. Like if you're ever like, I'm just so pissed I could punch somebody. Okay, well, punching like a pillow would be an excellent, like it actually is asking for that, right? So like I just want to yell, like I want to yell at somebody, like so like literally screaming like in a safe way. Or like if you actually notice your body like curling in on itself, it's asking to kind of like be in that like fetal position. And so your mind and your body are going to give you some clues. Doesn't always work that way, and you can always try stuff, and if it's not working, then you can try something else too.
All right. I want to know off mute, not in the chat, from one or two people or all of you. When we talk about this, what comes up? Are you like, oh my God, I could never? Or like, oh yeah, I do that every day. Like, I would love to know off mute what's coming up on this one, because this one was a big one for me.
Willing to try it. I've never actually thought about letting myself do that before.
Hmm.
We'll
You know
see.
who are the best models of doing this? Toddlers.
Great models.
I don't like toddlers. I like teenagers.
They're also good models. Their brains are very similar.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that though. I mean, right? We're told as toddlers to stop emotionally processing. Yikes! Right? Like, that's not super helpful, actually. Because we're basically saying this isn't appropriate for you to be this way. And so, like, yeah, you got to stop. But actually, like, we're having the human experience. And if emotions aren't moved to the body, they do get stuck in the body. I loved, Nimi, your language was so great of like, I'm completing the stress cycle. You're like letting yourself work it out through exercise. Great tool. Fantastic. Love that for you. Screaming in the car is very therapeutic. It gives you some privacy, especially if you're blasting music. I love that. Yeah, I'm a really good screamer in the car. That's one of my favorites. All right. Yeah. And actually, Christy, you bring up a good point. Music can allow you to release too. So you can put on more ragey music if you want to, or whatever, sad music and have a cry. All right, cool. All right, the last couple before we close out and kind of get some feedback from you. The D is for the deeper intention. Carly and I were just texting about the deeper intention of something she's navigating, and so um, we're it's an interesting language. We're asking like, what's the highest intention of like what's been going on or the emotion you're feeling? Um, Going back to that idea that emotions are here for you, like. So for example, my example of like the anger, the highest intention was actually to protect me and get me out of that relationship, right? It had a high intention for me. Um, Karen, like around the drinking, right? Like depending on the emotion that's coming up for you or the emotions that's coming up for you, like why might they be there? What's their intention? And maybe, what do you desire instead of that? If your brain will allow you to go there. It's gonna also be going into the world of parts work, which is a whole other topic, but Kate is nodding her head, Ash is nodding her head. I'm curious. I think Christy, you know parts work too, maybe. People know what I mean by parts. It's like IFS, internal family systems. You guys are so smart. Right. So you guys know with parts work or IFS, like potentially not all of you is feeling this way, or maybe there's a part of you that is activated or triggered by what's going on it's playing out for you, or it might be kind of acting up for you to listen. And so, what is the desire of that part of you? Maybe there's a part of you, Karen, I'm making stuff up. I'm just using because we talked about this in the beginning, if it's okay. Like, maybe there's a part of you that like was like a teenager and you didn't fit in at school, and like the drinking is like a way for you to fit in, right? Or like, I know that that was it for me with drinking. Like, I wanted to be cool. I'll be honest about it. I wanted to drink because it was cool, right? But that's not all of me. That's a part of me. Um, so, where are your parts needs not being met? Where are you not meeting yourself? What is it trying to tell you by kind of like acting out in these ways that are uncomfortable or that need to be looked at? Like, what is it that it's telling you? Right? Is it like telling you, hey, I really need, Karen, I need to have some more fun, right? Maybe that's actually like what it is, right? Or Kate, maybe it's like it's telling me that life has been really hard and I like really need to let some rage out. You know? Um, or, Ashley, maybe it's like the part is telling you like, yeah, I really like need the consistency, you know? Like what is this like desire here? And the deeper intention. I'd be curious, is this landing the deeper intention? It's pretty interesting, right? Carly, is there anything else you want to add here for the D? I know you said something in the chat. Um, oh, Carly said you can IMED habits and behaviors. Yeah, totally. Okay. All
Some
right.
people do find doing this part like earlier in the process more beneficial. Sophie and I both were like, we both found that when we did it earlier, like we couldn't get to the intention because we were so angry at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like we didn't even want to know it, kind of. So, but some people do find that they need the intention first and then that helps them process. So again, like this is just because we go through it in this order does not mean that you have to. If you're like if you're like I can't even get to like the I, well, okay, skip the I, go to the next one. See which one you can get to.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that in. Yeah, so it was called DIME, so D was the first thing, deeper intention, and it's like I can't think about the deeper intention. I just want to like punch someone in the face, right now, or whatever it was. So we kind of restructured it for us, but you use what you need. Okay, in the chat, I remember driving out of the country with a friend to scream at the top of our lungs after it felt so good. Now that I'm in the city, I go to concerts. Love it. I also know but also now when I freeze due to anxiety, I've found focusing on the smallest, simplest thing helps me so much because you can't see the road when you're surrounded by the fog. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, smallest step, whatever it is. Okay. The S is solidifying the new identity. So this one's also a little like brainy, and so you may not be able to do all of this, but I find that I do the S when this topic, like this trigger or activation comes up like every day or every week or something. So, what would a person who has worked through this trigger or emotions say to themselves? Maybe there's like a mental cue that you need to hear, like it's safe to fuck up, or I have all the tools I need, or I can trust myself to heal, right? Like, or I'm committed to living in peace and, adventure and peace, or something that you might need to solidify this like identity of the person who's moved through this. And it could be an action step. What do I need to do now, or what do I need to do next time? If you got into an argument with your wife or husband or partner And you kind of walk yourself through this process and you realize like, you know what I really needed next time is, I need to like make some space in my week for my partner and I to connect, right? Like what is it that could be, how could you set yourself up for success moving forward so that you are stepping into the person who has this kind of solved or supported? How could you support yourself going forward? Carly, any other S's, thoughts on the S?
No, I had just one thought, especially since anxiety was just brought back up on the previous slide. Anxiety and depression can be both emotions and or a state of being. So just keep that in mind because sometimes when we process through anxiety, anxiety is like keeping us like distracted. It's like a barrier between us and the emotion that's underneath it. So like kind of like we're in fear, which is an emotion of feeling the emotion underneath. And if we stay in that state too long, we can drop into like a depressive state, which feels like sadness, but it's different than sadness. So sometimes we can process through the feeling of feeling anxious or feeling depressed, and then there's actually another emotion that's going to express itself because it was sort of helping you. It was in its own right. It thought it was protecting you from having to feel those feelings, not knowing that you now have like new resources, right? In the past, it served a purpose. So it becomes habit of the nervous system. And over time, we just kind of need to show it like, no, I don't need to dip that far down into depression as we start to notice the cues of whatever might have been leading to the depression to begin with or the anxiety. This isn't true like all the time. I know like MCAS and histamine things will flare up anxiety as well. So there's physical body components to it as well. But again, the reason the anxiety is expressing with the MCAS sometimes too is to alert you of the foods and the things that are triggering you. So again, like if you drop through the anxiety or the depression when you're processing this, and then all of a sudden you find yourself crying or you find yourself angry, that's actually normal. Like I just want to normalize that for you because it's a state of being that's between you and the actual emotion behind it.
So good. All right. So iMeds is just a tool. You don't have to use it every day. You don't have to overthink it. Maybe all you can do is calm yourself down. Maybe all you can do is express the emotion. Maybe all you can do is name the emotion. Maybe all you can do is figure out the deeper intention. Or maybe you can do the whole thing, right? So really take from this what is helpful. But it is the best framework that I have seen in terms of like taking responsibility for our emotional intelligence. We're not at fault for things that happen to us that are traumatic or anything like that. But I think what is helpful is to feel empowered to process through when life, as our coaches would say, life lifes at us. And right now, life's life been pretty hard for a lot of us, right? There's work stress, there's kid stress, there's, partner stress. And so this is just like a really great emotional alchemy tool for you to move through it. And start to, if you can, become friends with your emotions because they're here to stay. People talk about stress management and they're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna like snap my fingers and I won't have any stress. Like that's not real. Here to tell you. But we can be in empowerment with our emotions and our triggers and be aware of them. Before this work, I never knew why I was anxious all the time. And I never knew what to do about it. So I was always just stuck in it. It's not very empowering to be stuck in anxiety all the time, right? So let this simmer, watch the replay. I can send you guys the slides if you want and see what comes. I would love to hear from each of you. I know Kate looks like Kate's cooking, and I'm not sure, Karen, you're on here twice. We lost Shani. But if you want to unmute real quick, what's one takeaway for you? And maybe like takeaway slash maybe there's an action step, maybe there's not, but I'd just love to hear from each of you. I'm gonna just, for sake of time, call on folks. Ashley, I would love to hear from you first, if you feel comfortable.
Yeah, so I think this is big for me because I do, I'll be in a regulated state or get myself to a regulated state, but somewhere down in the middle of the day, how do I get out of that dysregulated state, like at work and things like that? And it's finding those tools that I can start to implement on a more consistent basis throughout the day versus just like in the morning or at night. So I think this was helpful and not suppressing my emotions, but allowing myself to feel all the things. And anger is one that I suppress a lot. So I think finding an outlet, like even silent screaming in the pillow or something, something that I can do to release that anger when it does come up. So yeah, this was helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, something that actually comes up for me and when you were sharing that is Um, kind of like how we were talking on our one-to-one call of like, when I go out of town and then there's like this I get out of the thing and then I need to like, how do I get back into the thing? It's like preparing for the eventuality, like for all of us, like that our emotions are gonna hit. And so like Ashley, for you, you mentioned like the anger is like one in particular that comes up that doesn't get processed. So I like even you don't have to wait for it to boil over. Like, you could do it you can do it as self-care maintenance, which sounds kind of funny, but you could like do the pillow thing or scream into the car, like Christy said, daily, weekly, as like a like a release maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea. I haven't even thought I wait for it to boil up, and even then I'm still suppressing it. So it's finding that healthy outlet to express it a little bit more often or, finding
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And it might feel safer if you do it that way when there's not a specific trigger, because then you're just kind of like experimenting as opposed to like, I need this to work to like process this
Yeah,
trigger, you know?
that's so true. Yeah.
Uh,
That just reminded me that like I tend to do that in the bath. Like expression is something that I work on as well, especially in anger. And so one day, I don't know why I just decided to do this. I was like sitting in the bath and I was like, well, what if I just start like I'm yelling and I don't know why this is, like just like I don't know what else to do. And all of a sudden like shit just came out of my mouth that I didn't know was there. So
Mm, love it. Ashley, before we switch to anyone else, I saw your really beautiful comment here about that you're currently in the process of up leveling into this new identity.
Yes, work in progress. And I think, yeah, just feeling through the emotions, and fear, is coming up a lot, just in general. So navigating that fear and kind of getting to the root of why, but not letting the control, like trying to control the why, because sometimes I feel like I'm trying to get to this root cause of things and then I start to spiral with that. So I think it is just all about allowing myself to feel the things and kind of dive, deeper into the feeling of the fear and why, that's coming up, but not letting it control me, if that makes sense.
Mm, love that for you. Yeah, like sometimes just somatically being with the emotion. Because sometimes it's like we actually like create more fear by like not actually feeling like we're so afraid to feel the thing. So then we were like, I can't feel emotions. Oh my gosh, emotions are bad. And then you so it's like it makes it worse. I love that for you and thanks for being so brave. Good job. Um, yeah, the new shifting into a new identity. It's like you can't go back, but you're also not in the next step yet, so it's really uncomfortable. Well, as we continue to deepen over the next 4 months, I'd love to hear more about this new identity you're stepping into so we can hold you in it and witness you in becoming this person that you're becoming, that you already started the process of. Yeah. hmm Oh, okay. Kate, hi.
Hi. This is all interesting. I think I've heard a lot of it before, but it's good. But I'm really, really interested to meet with Carly now, um, because, um, like, I don't really have a lot of anxiety, or I don't think I do. Maybe I do. That's not histamine related. But maybe I don't know if you can differentiate it or not, or if it even really matters, because it just does feel like I'm so like possessed and I can't do anything about it. So I'm really, really interested to like work with whatever there is that we can with someone understanding histamine, because nobody I've ever worked with, they just had no idea. And so then it's like, okay, not, that actually doesn't work. Like, what you're saying does not help, and they don't understand that. And then it makes it, I don't know, it just all feels so pointless. But I think there is a lot of good in there. But just having someone who understands histamine, being the person I'm talking to, I'm really looking forward to that.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad that that inspired you to book your call. Yeah, you can reach out and get that booked. Yeah, that would be good. I think even like if I may, just like even like one quick takeaway that I heard even in there that like maybe you guys can dig into, or maybe the conversation will go somewhere else, but it's like interesting your language. You're like, yeah, like nothing ever will work. Like,
Mm.
it's really like that's really like direct, intensive, and all-inclusive language. And so even
Mhm.
that information is something that your nervous system is sensing. That you don't think it's gonna work. And like, I'm not saying like you don't have reasons to believe like that because you've tried a lot of stuff. And I find it can be really helpful if we can get even just a little bit of leeway in our mind and in our nervous system, especially around health stuff. Otherwise, we can
Mhm.
kind of just loop, you know,
Yeah.
loopy doopers,
Yes.
loopy doopers.
Yeah.
Sophia.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sweet. Christy, you want to share anything? Any takeaways for you?
Sure. I think a takeaway is just kind of what you said at the end after we walked through all the steps that you can just do one of them and you don't need to do the whole thing because sometimes it feels like if you're not doing every step, you're doing it wrong, and that can prevent me from wanting to try. So it's a good reminder that doing a little bit is still moving you in the right direction. So, yeah, I would say that's my takeaway.
I love that for you. Yeah, less is more. Small steps. One thing. Thank you for sharing. Karen, what about you? Maybe one of your screens will work.
I know. Okay, let's see. Now I need to.
All right, maybe try now.
Okay, yes. I think just I need to start trying new things.
Mm,
Um, can we like just trying new things emotion wise for my anxiety because nothing has really worked. So, or I guess I really haven't tried. Like I haven't, I just get stuck.
mm.
So learning all these tools are helpful.
Cool. I'd love for you to have a little bit more specificity because I think specificity helps. Is there
Mhm.
one thing that you are willing to try or do in the next week, like watch the nervous system videos or
Oh yeah.
like that?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I did watch them, but I don't know. It's like yeah, I need to focus better and watch them.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're having a lot of like neurotransmitter like stuff
Yes.
going on. So I know we're gonna get the neurofocus, which will help.
Yes. I just got
Um,
it. It just came in the
okay.
mail and already I was surprised. So, yes.
Yeah, it comes really fast. So I think that'll help too with focus.
Yes.
And but yeah, be gentle with yourself because this is like a whole nother language. Like when Carly and I learned this, I was like, oh wait, like I've opened Pandora's box and now I can't go back in the box. Like Ashley, how you're
Yeah.
like on the way to the like you're in the transition. So that's okay, that you have to listen to it again. That's totally fine and good. And like that's why you have lifetime access to those videos. I would say the mindset module would also be really good for you. Really good. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and I think the neurotransmitter panel will be fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some sessions with Carly down the road could be helpful, something
Right.
else to think
Yeah,
about.
I was just thinking because the focus, that's something that's a huge part of stuff that I go through. Um, I'm just curious, like if you framed it as like you're just listening for like one takeaway, like you don't need to know all of it. Like the second you get the like one thing that you're like, oh, like aha, like that's it, like you've got it.
Uh,
Hmm. Hmm. That's really good. Ooh, I love
It's
that.
like when you read a book and you just read like one quote from it, that like Survivors of Ripples, but you don't remember anything else that you read in the book. Like you've got the money's worth of the book.
That's so good. Oh, I love all your takeaways. Thanks for being present and for communicating and for creating a safe environment for all of us to be expressed here. Emotions are definitely can be difficult to talk about. So I'm excited that you guys were willing to learn this tool and expose yourself to this. And um, yeah, sorry, just got a text for some reason just came through. But we will see you in 2 weeks. I wanted to just ask, since I do have some of you on here, would y'all be open to like a 4 p.m. Mountain Time on Wednesdays being our call time? Yes. Yeah. Like in general, Wednesdays at 4 Mountain, which is 5 Central, 3 PST, and 6 Eastern. Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. Works for you. Okay, cool. The reason I'm asking, I found a workout that actually works for me. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5, and so it's 30 minutes away. So I'm like trying to figure out how I can do it. So if there's some people that cannot do that, I'll still alternate days. 4 p.m. PST, Ashley, yes. Or we could do it later, if that would be better for people, or a different day. I'm just trying to, yeah, make it consistent so we're not like, oh, I didn't know when the call was. But Wednesdays would be best for me if it does work for y'all. You can also let me know in the chat. So Kate, yes, but not on camera. Karen, it works. Christy, I'm not sure. Sounds good. Okay, perfect. Ashley, yeah, Kate, would a little bit later work on Wednesday, or is it just Wednesday in general? Yeah, usually. Okay. Okay. Yeah, cool. Maybe we do like an hour later or half an hour later. That's better. Yeah, would that be better? Ah, okay. All right. So maybe 5 Mountain, which would be like 7 Eastern, 1 hour. Okay, I gotta write it down because I'm not gonna remember. Wednesday's at 5. Okay, I will update all of that for you guys. Love you guys so much. Have a beautiful night. See you in the chat. Bye.